From Public Radio International, this is The World. A co-production of the BBC World Service, PRI, and WGBH Boston. It's Thursday, May 27th. I'm Marco Werman. President Obama's new national security strategy signals a shift from the Bush era. How big a shift is up for debate. Also, an anti-Al-Qaeda CIA plot that didn't happen.
Darker-skinned CIA employees were recruited to act the part of Osama and his circle.
Plus, Philippe Cousteau wades into the Gulf spill.
I dipped my hand into it just to feel it, and my hand is still yellow days later because this oil just doesn't go away.
First up, this news.
BBC News with Michael Poles. President Obama has announced a shake-up of the offshore oil industry after the Gulf of Mexico oil spill. He's halted exploratory deepwater drilling for another 6 months and suspended test drilling on 33 rigs in the Gulf of Mexico. In addition, he's cancelled the sale of further offshore leases. Mr. Obama has also sacked the head of the government agency monitoring offshore drilling. He said there was a lesson to be learned from the disaster.
More than anything else, this economic and environmental tragedy, and it's a tragedy, underscores the urgent need for this nation to develop clean, renewable sources of energy. Doing so will not only reduce threats to our environment, it will create a new, homegrown American industry that can lead to countless new businesses and new jobs.
The oil company responsible for the Gulf of Mexico spillage, BP, is still pumping mud to try to plug the hole in the damaged well. Government scientists say that up to 3 million litres of oil a day have been gushing out of the broken pipe, at least 3 times more than BP's original estimate. 11 workers were killed in the initial explosion 5 weeks ago on the rig, the Deepwater Horizon. Police in Jamaica say at least 73 people have been killed in fighting between security forces and supporters of an alleged drug dealer in the capital, Kingston. The security forces have been going from house to house in the Tivoli Gardens area of Kingston, searching for Christopher Dudas Koch, who's wanted in the US on drug and gun running charges. Our correspondent Steve Kingston has been to the area.
Come on, please, let's go.
Under heavy military escort, we're being taken through part of Tivoli Gardens where the violence raged. There are soldiers on every street corner. You can still see part of what remains of the barricades that were constructed by the gang loyal to Christopher Koch. You can see fires in places. The police say that the situation is volatile and they are not taking us into the area of Tivoli Gardens where they say the operation is still active.
The United States has unveiled its long-term security strategy. In the new document, President Obama's administration pledges more diplomatic efforts to reverse the spread of nuclear arms. It says that it'll work with China in matters of mutual interest, but will also monitor Beijing's military development. Madeleine Morris has more from Washington.
Diplomacy and development as tools for security find a new prominence in President Obama's first national security strategy. Out is the phrase war on terror. Instead, the strategy refers explicitly to combating Al-Qaeda and its affiliates. And for the first time, fighting the threat of homegrown terrorism receives serious attention, following a number of attempted and successful attacks by American citizens on American soil. The strategy also focuses on Iran and North Korea, saying the US will use multiple means to isolate the two countries over their nuclear ambitions.
You're listening to the World News from the BBC. Members of the Ayllus indigenous community in Bolivia say they've lynched 4 policemen in the province of Potosí. They accuse the policemen, who belonged to a unit tackling car theft, of extortion. The area is a well-known smuggling route for cars from neighbouring Chile. A local police chief said the attackers were refusing to hand over the bodies. A video has been posted on the internet showing members of the Russian parliament voting on behalf of absent colleagues. The multiple voting has been condemned by senior politicians as a disgrace. Here's Richard Galpin in Moscow.
The pictures show a chamber with rows and rows of empty seats. The few deputies who have turned up...